I went into the woods alone, knowing that the thing inside of me that I used to be afraid of was the thing I could trust to protect me. And when it shows up, I can take the time to appreciate that I don't need it, that I can put it back to bed, but that I know it's there. And I thank it for having saved me before, because I think some of us have a thing inside where we know we can snap and do anything it takes to protect ourselves or someone else. And it's nothing to be ashamed of or to try to get rid of. It's a thing to appreciate. It's there because you needed it at some point in some way, and it's better to know you have it. And I walked through the woods alone, and I thought about how my mom never taught me how to love myself, only how to shame myself, and that it's taken me quite a while into adulthood to be able to unpack that and give myself the love that I was always seeking from other people, to understand that I was not broken when I came into this world, that I am not broken now, that I did all the work it takes to get me here. And I laid down on the bench, part sun, part shade, on my body, and I knew the river ran below me in the valley. I felt my heart reverberated in the wood against my back. I knew I was part of my environment, the way I had always understood myself to be. Because I didn't have anyone to ask how this stuff works. And so it was the trees and the sky, and they answered me in the only way they could, which was telling me, watch closely, listen closely, learn what you can from it. And that kept me alive. And I was overcome by grief for a moment, but then I realized it's not purely grief, and grief isn't purely sadness or loss. Sometimes the acknowledgement of a thing inspiring grief is also a moment flooded with love, whether that love is only active in the person experiencing that moment and walking through that moment of grief, or whether that love still reverberates in everything around you. And I sat in the timelessness of the Mad Hatter, and I had no pen with which to write. My heart was ready to say every word, and my mind was spilling over with ink. And on the walk back home, I listened to my shoes, and they were talking about the things we'll do when we get back. And my step got lighter, my shoes making their own drumbeat on the path. I was part of my environment, a sun-dappled thing moving through, steward of life, a finder of wild raspberries and honeysuckle vine. And as I walk away from this love-soaked moment, covered in sun and shade, I will always be home. I am home. I take it with me in my heart. Excuse me. These bones made of clay, this brain full of words and processes, my desire to understand, my deep need to watch closely and listen closely, learn what I can from it. And I was ready to leave the timelessness of the Mad Hatter and come back home.